Dead space is never empty. Wreckage drifted like bones in a black sea. Nathan Reeve leaned forward in the pilot seat of the Copper Finch, eyes scanning the sensor readouts. The ship's proximity alert had started blinking just 10 minutes ago, picking up twisted metal and debris just beyond the fringes of the Dentari Belt, where a battle had recently gone down. From what he'd heard on comm channels, some pirate ship had gotten smoked by a coalition patrol. Big one. A dreadnought, maybe. Jackpot. He flicked a switch to adjust the forward lights and eased his small salvage ship closer. Burned-out hulls and radiation-leaking containers floated in lazy spirals. Charred metal plates bore scars from energy weapons. Power cores glowed like dying embers. The whole scene reeked of violence and sudden death. Nathan hated dead zones. Not because of the danger, he was ex-military. It was the silence. The kind of quiet where you remembered who you used to be before the war. Before you learned how to carve up corpses in space to make rent. His scanner chirped. Life sign detected, the onboard AI muttered in its cold, emotionless voice. Nathan's hand froze above the control stick. Repeat that, he said. Single life form. Pod integrity at 43%. Vital signs unstable. He narrowed his eyes. Could be a trap. Could be a glitch. But if it wasn't, well, conscience didn't leave you, not entirely. The pod was wedged into a mangled section of what looked like an alien cruiser hull, deep purple plating, singed and cracked. He extended a mechanical arm, anchored the wreckage, and used his boarding tether to pull himself over. As soon as he forced the hatch open with a pry tool, he heard the breathing, shallow, ragged. Then he saw her. An alien woman lay slumped against the inner wall, one arm hanging limp, the other gripping a dagger she was too weak to raise. She was tall, maybe 6'7", with skin the color of twilight and bioluminescent tattoos tracing her collarbones and throat in soft blue patterns. Her armor was shattered, chest plate scorched black from plasma impact. Her eyes snapped open, feline, violet, and burning with rage. "Stay back!" she rasped, the dagger lifting an inch before her arm gave out. She collapsed, but her gaze locked onto him, defiant. Nathan held up both hands. "I'm not here to hurt you." She blinked slowly, as if struggling to understand. Her lips parted, blood trailing down one corner. "Human." "Yeah," he muttered, pulling a med kit from his pack. "Lucky you." She didn't resist as he injected her with a stabilizer. Her breathing slowed. Her pupils dilated. Her head lolled against his shoulder as he worked quickly, patching the worst of her wounds. Then, just as he was about to carry her back to the Finch, her hand snapped out, gripping his wrist like a vice. Her eyes burned into his, voice suddenly clear despite her state. "You have claimed me." Nathan blinked. "What?" "I am bound to you. By right of survival. You pulled me from death. I belong to you now." Whoa, hang on, belong? Lady, I just patched you up." Her lips curled, not quite a smile. "Not patched. Rescued. Life debt. You are my mate now." "Oh hell no," Nathan said, trying to pull back. Her grip tightened. "It is sacred. It is law." He stared at her, at the burning conviction in her eyes, the fierce pride, the absolute certainty. And despite himself, he didn't see madness. He saw someone dead serious. "Fine," he muttered. "Let's get you out of here first. You can explain the rest when you're not bleeding all over my ship." She didn't speak again. But as he lifted her into his arms and carried her across the tether, she rested her head on his chest like it was the most natural thing in the world. Nathan sighed as the Finch's hatch sealed behind them. He had a bad feeling he'd just picked up more than salvage. A warrior's debt. Nathan hadn't expected his morning to involve an alien pirate passed out in his bunk, but here they were. The med scanner hovered silently over her, chirping diagnostic updates into the air. Internal bleeding stabilized. Fractured ribs healing. Vital signs improving. She slept like a statue, stiff, silent, and coiled even in rest. Only her breathing moved, slow and deep, like a jungle cat in hibernation. He leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, a protein bar half-eaten in one hand. Every few minutes, he checked the bolt on his sidearm. "Just in case." She was awake before he realized it. Her eyes opened, piercing and unblinking. Then she sat up with unnatural speed, hand going to where her blade would have been. "I disarmed you," Nathan said calmly. "And you've got 2 cracked ribs. Try anything sudden and you'll be back in stasis." She stared at him, then looked around the room, narrow metal walls, humming reactor core behind a grated panel, the faint smell of burnt coffee and lubricants. The bunk barely fit her tall frame. "This is your vessel?" she asked, her accent sharp, precise.
"Yeah."
"The copper finch. Not much, but it flies." She studied him now. Really studied him. As if seeing him for the first time. "You are human." Nathan raised an eyebrow. "No offense, but I feel like that should have been obvious when I pulled you out of that pod." "You risked your life," she said. "That makes you worthy." He rolled his eyes. "Can we back up to that whole "I belong to you" part from earlier?" She stood, wobbling once before finding her balance. "I am Veyra Zhayn, commander of the 7th Blood Tide, warlord of the Outer Ring. My kin call me Storm Mother." Nathan whistled. "That's a lot of titles." "I held them with pride." She looked away for a moment. "Until betrayal took my ship and crew. They left me to die. And I didn't. So now I'm your, what? Owner." Her eyes snapped to his, fire igniting again. "No. You are my savior mate. The one who pulled me from death. In Korshai law, such a bond is sacred. I owe you my life, my strength, my future." He rubbed his temples. "Okay. Let's say I believe that. What does this bond mean in practice?" "I serve you," she said plainly, "until the debt is paid or the bond is made permanent." Permanent. Mating. Offspring. Blood oath. The choice is yours. She said it like she was offering to pass the salt. Nathan blinked. "You're really casual about all this." "It is the ancient code. To be saved is to surrender." "Yeah, we humans don't really do that kind of thing." She tilted her head. "Then you refuse my debt." He hesitated. She looked almost insulted. "No. I just think maybe we settle for shipmate until we both know neither of us is crazy." A slow smile touched her lips, a rare and alien expression on her severe face. "Agreed, human." "Nathan," he offered. "Nah then," she repeated, testing the shape of it. "It suits you. Short. Sharp." He sighed. "Thanks. I think." She limped past him into the cockpit, scanning the controls like an engineer, her fingers hovering near buttons she shouldn't recognize. "You've flown human ships before?" he asked. "No. But your systems are charmingly primitive." Nathan frowned. "That sounded like an insult." "I meant it as a compliment." He watched her movements. Graceful, focused. Definitely a soldier. Maybe a killer. And now she was in his ship, pledging loyalty like some medieval space knight. The quiet was broken by a proximity alarm. "Unidentified vessel approaching," the ship's AI intoned. "No transponder. Weapons hot." Nathan jumped into the pilot's seat. "Pirates." Veyra's face darkened. "Not pirates. Korshai. You said they left you to die. Why are they coming back now?" "Not to save me," she said. "To finish the job." Nathan stared at the sensor blip, growing closer. Faster. "You brought enemies to my ship," he muttered. "You brought me back from death," she countered. "You knew this would not be clean." He stood, moving to the weapon controls. "Then let's make sure they regret it." She stepped beside him, her tone grim. "Together, Nathan. Let them come." Outside the viewport, the blackness shimmered with distant red lights. The hunt had begun. The bounty on her head, and mine. The Korshai vessel shadowed them for 27 minutes before opening fire. "Evasive," Nathan barked, yanking the control stick as a plasma bolt screamed past the hull. The ship jolted sideways, inertial dampeners lagging behind. A second blast tore through the rear stabilizer. Systems dimmed. The Finch bucked like a wounded animal. Shields down to 23%, the AI droned. Veyra was already moving. She strapped herself into the co-pilot's chair and began activating subsystems Nathan didn't even know the ship had. "What the hell are you doing?" he shouted over the blaring alarms. "Rewiring weapons grid. Your design is inefficient." Her fingers moved with surgical precision. "I've boosted your railgun capacitor. You now have 60 seconds of charge at triple yield. Use it well." He blinked. "You upgraded my guns while I was asleep? I enhanced your ship. As part of my service." Nathan gritted his teeth. "Next time, maybe tell me first." Another explosion rocked the hull. Emergency lights bathed the cabin in red. Nathan cursed and pulled them into a spiraling dive. "I can't outrun them," he said. "They're faster and better armed. We fight." "That's not a plan." Veyra turned to him, calm in the chaos. "They are not here for you. They're here for me. But you are with me. You are claimed. So now you are theirs as well." "Oh great," he muttered. "We're both targets. Wonderful. They will not take us." She stood, grabbing the storage hatch and yanking out a crate of weapons she must have smuggled aboard. From it, she pulled a plasma glaive and a sleek wrist-mounted energy shield. She looked at him. "You said your ship had a boarding countermeasure system?" "Yeah," Nathan said. "Manual override, hull lockdown, and are you planning to let them board us?" "Yes." "Let them inside." "That's the opposite of every rule in space combat." "I do not know your rules, Nathan. But I do know how to kill Korshai in close quarters." She glanced at him, her voice softening slightly. "Trust me." Something about the way she said it, not as a command, but as a request, made him pause. He nodded. "AI," he said. "Power down weapons. Drop rear shields. Let them think we're crippled." "Acknowledged." Seconds later, the Korshai ship latched on with magnetic clamps. Hull breach alarms sounded across the deck. Veyra stood at the airlock, glaive raised, eyes focused. The breech door exploded inward. Korshai warriors poured in, taller, bulkier than Veyra, armored in obsidian plating. Their weapons glowed with cruel energy. Veyra didn't hesitate. She moved like a living blade, cutting through the first attacker with a sweeping arc of her glaive. Sparks and blood sprayed. Nathan ducked behind cover, fired off a few shots from his rifle. The tight corridor lit up with chaos. Veyra was brutal, efficient, and fearless. Every strike was a lesson in controlled violence. Her shield deflected a barrage. Then she plunged her blade into the squad leader's chest with a snarl. Nathan took down one charging toward the bridge, his pulse rifle overheating. He caught a glimpse of Veyra locking blades with the last Korshai, the two snarling in their native tongue. Then she broke his arm, spun behind, and severed his spine. Silence returned. The air smelled of ozone and blood. Veyra stood over the bodies, breathing hard, violet skin marked with crimson streaks that weren't her own. Nathan emerged from behind a console. "Remind me never to piss you off." She turned to him, a strange look in her eyes, not just triumph. Regret. Grief. "They were once my brothers," she said quietly. "Now they're nothing but bounty dogs." He didn't know what to say to that. They cleaned up in silence. Veyra dragged the bodies to the airlock and spaced them one by one. Nathan patched the hull breach with emergency plating. Later, in the cockpit, as he worked on rerouting power, a comm alert flashed. Encrypted message. Human military signature. Nathan opened it. Salvager Reeve. You are ordered to detain the alien aboard your vessel and surrender to the nearest Earth Alliance outpost. The being known as Commander Veyra Zhayn is wanted for war crimes. Failure to comply will result in your classification as an accomplice. Nathan stared at the screen. Veyra watched him. "Well." He closed the alert. "We're not turning you in." She blinked. "You believe me?" she asked, voice quiet. "I've seen you fight. You're not some mindless butcher. And I don't leave people behind, especially not the ones saving my ass." Her expression softened. "Then the bond between us holds true." He sighed. "Yeah, I guess it does." Outside, the stars waited, silent and cold. And now, they both had enemies. bound by blood and fire. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the viewport, cold and uncaring. Nathan sat in the captain's chair, silent. The Finch glided in dark space, its systems running quiet. No beacons, no chatter, no trail. They were ghosts now, both of them. Behind him, Veyra stood at attention, arms crossed over her chest, gaze fixed on the void. She hadn't spoken much since the last Korshai skirmish. Not about the bounty. Not about the military message Nathan hadn't forwarded to her. He finally broke the silence. "Why do they want you dead?" She didn't answer at first. Then she walked forward and sat beside him, her eyes distant. "Because I disobeyed. I spared lives I was ordered to end." Nathan looked at her. "Korshai don't tolerate mercy. To them, mercy is weakness. Our culture is built on conquest, dominance. The strong take, the weak vanish." She turned to him. "I was raised to be a weapon. But I watched colonies burn under our flag. I saw what we left behind, children in ash. Civilians executed in cold silence. I stopped being their warlord the day I refused to slaughter a moon full of refugees. And they turned on you. They called it treason. Stripped my command. Issued death rights in my name." Nathan exhaled slowly. "And now Earth wants to use that history to put a bounty on your head. Pretty convenient." "They fear what they don't understand," she said. "Your kind always has." He gave her a sideways glance. "You don't talk like a pirate. I was one. Once." She flexed her fingers. "After exile, I had nothing. I led a fractured fleet, scavengers, warborn, broken clans. We became something between rebels and monsters. It was survival. Until betrayal gutted us." Nathan leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "You could run. Find a backwater moon. Disappear." Her voice hardened. "Running is not in my blood. They will hunt me until one of us dies. And now you are tied to me, mate bond or not." He nodded slowly. "Then we hit them first." She turned, sharply. "You would fight the Korshai? The Earth Alliance? For me?" "I've already killed their bounty squad," he said. "Pretty sure that ship's sailed." He stood, turned to face her fully. "Besides, I'm not just in this because of a bond or some cultural rule I barely understand. You didn't betray your people because you were weak. You did it because you still had a soul. That's rare in this galaxy." A pause. Then she stepped close to him, their bodies inches apart. "You understand honor," she said quietly. "You speak truth. That makes you dangerous." Nathan raised an eyebrow. "Is that your way of saying you like me?" She tilted her head. "You are tolerable." They both laughed, tension breaking like a brittle hull. Moments later, the long-range scanner pinged. An old freighter drifted ahead, transponder cold, but hull intact. Dead in space. No damage. No signs of struggle. Nathan frowned. "That shouldn't be here. There's no trade lanes for 100 parsecs." Veyra studied the readings. "It's bait. Pirates." "No," she said, eyes narrowing. "That ship is Korshai tech, disguised. I recognize the power signature beneath the shell." Nathan's blood chilled. "They're laying traps now. They know we live." He stared at the freighter's outline on the screen, his fingers hovering over the controls. "What if we turned this on them?" he said. "Spoof their signal. Hijack the bait. Lure them in for a change." Veyra smiled, slow and sharp. "You think like a predator. I'm learning from the best." They worked in tandem, rerouting Finch's comms array, mimicking the freighter's power core modulation. Veyra fine-tuned the decoy signal, embedding a Korshai distress call only recognizable to certain high-command frequencies. Within an hour, a second ship appeared, this one heavier. "A war frigate." "Hooked," Nathan muttered. "Now what?" Veyra gripped the railgun controls. "Now we teach them the price of the hunt." As the enemy ship closed in, the Finch roared to life, weapon systems online, decoys activated, gravity well charges armed. Veyra's face was lit by the targeting screen, fierce and beautiful and deadly. "Together," she said. Nathan nodded. Together. The trap was sprung.